Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1937B, and today's date is August 7th, 2019, and the title of the episode is One Question Destroys the Mainstream Media. What's coming will shock the nation. Now, before we get started, we've been talking about protecting your devices, protecting yourself from big tech. I mean, it's the year 2019, and if you're not using a VPN by now on your desktop, tablet, or mobile device while you browse the internet, then you're really exposing yourself to a lot of potential danger. Here, let me show you how easy this is. Click Connect. Once I'm connected, my IP address is now different than before. See? This month, Virtual Shield is offering a 4th of July celebration special. Sign up for free for 30-day trial to Virtual Shield VPN and see what the hype is all about. You have nothing to lose. Click the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, we need to remember something very important. What we are watching right now is the entire show, the entire plan, which is unfolding right in front of our eyes. I mean, we talk about panic. We talk about, when are we going to see these people worried? This is what we've been seeing. Now, remember, in their minds, they always believed and still believe that they're in control, that nothing can touch them. They're above the law. How do we know they're panicking? What do we see? What does it look like when they panic? When they panic, they start doing stupid things. They take everything to the extreme. They expose themselves. They expose their plan. They expose what they really want. They do this out of fear. They're afraid. And what happens is when you're scared, you start doing really stupid things. And that's what we see happening right now. People will now actually see what these individuals are really about. And when you really look, you can see that these individuals, the deep state, they're out of ammunition. All their blocks are gone. Hope is fading for them. They're screaming louder and louder and louder. And those who scream the loudest, they have the most to lose. And they start using underhanded tactics because at this point, they have nothing else. And they're exposing themselves for who and what they really are. I mean, think about this for a second. Think about what has been happening lately. We have Joaquin Castro that went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to release private names and let everyone know who supports Trump, who donated to Trump. And by the way, he revealed one of his donors because this individual gave to both Trump and him. So that was a stupid move. We have Rashida Tlaib. She is supporting the release of private citizens' personal information on social media, saying the public has the right to know. I mean, think about what they're saying here. Think about what they're doing. Now, remember, she was the one that was at a Trump rally, and there was a video of this, where she was screaming and yelling, and she had to be escorted out of this 2016 rally that Trump was holding. And they escorted her out, and she was screaming, kicking, and yelling. Now, Don Jr., he was on Fox News, and he said the following. I've seen what's going on with Joaquin Castro's craziness and putting out a list. I mean, that list sort of screams like the Dayton, Ohio shooting list, right? When a radical left-wing politician is polling about 0%, does this either for attention or a call to action. It's pretty scary. That is the same thing that the Dayton, Ohio shooter did. When the fringe crazies on both sides see that, man, now you're going after ordinary citizens. And he's absolutely right. This is what desperation looks like. This is what happens when you have nothing left. You have nothing to lose. You're not going to win the presidential race. You're going to be exposed. And you need to figure out a way to stop this individual that's going to expose everything. And look what they're doing. Now, Paul Sperry tweeted out something very interesting about Joaquin Castro. He said, breaking, Dem presidential candidate Julian Castro, who proposes decriminalizing border jumping, and his twin rep, Joaquin Castro, who just published names and employers of Trump donors, learned their radicalism from their communist parents who advocated reclaiming Southwest U.S. for Mexico. He continued, the mainstream media won't tell you this, but Democrat presidential candidate Julian Castro and Democrat Representative Joaquin Castro have a secret radical agenda inculcated by their Chicano communist parents of reconquering the southwestern United States through mass illegal immigration, i.e. invasion. And that is very interesting. Now, we're not just seeing these reps do something like this. We're seeing others like Nadler. He has become so desperate. Think about it. Everything that he's tried has failed. He's panicking. He's desperate, so he's making another move. Think about everything that they tried. Everything has failed. The Mueller investigation, Mueller testifying, Russian collusion, obstruction, lawsuits, all failed. Trying to keep Kavanaugh out of the Supreme Court also failed. Every move that Nadler makes fails. Impeachment, failure. So what is he doing now? He's going after Kavanaugh once again. Representative Doug Collins tweeted out the following. Senate Dems spent months launching false accusations in an attempt to smear Justice Kavanaugh's reputation and block his confirmation to the U.S. Supreme Court. And now House Dems want to follow suit with yet another fishing expedition to tarnish his good name. Now here's the statement. Chairman Nadler's request is so far outside the scope of judicial ethics, it's harassment. Senate Democrats spent months launching false accusations in an attempt to smear Justice Kavanaugh's reputation and block his confirmation to the U.S. Supreme Court. And now House Democrats want to follow suit with yet another fishing expedition to tarnish his good name. Judiciary Democrats failed in their attempt to relitigate the Mueller investigation, so now they're pivoting to attack a sitting Supreme Court justice by reinvestigating issues examined during his Senate confirmation. When are we going to move on from smear campaigns and begin working on real bipartisan solutions to improve the lives of the Americans we were elected to represent? Now, he wants to go back in time and look at Kavanaugh's emails, all of them, even the ones he didn't read, even the ones he didn't reply to, the ones that went into his spam email box. He's trying to get all the information. Why does he need this? They already appointed him. He already went through the hearing. There is no reason for this. There's no justification for this. Nadler is reaching. He is desperate. And guess what? The people of America are looking at this and saying, okay, this is out of hand already. You are so desperate right now. You're reaching for nothing. Why aren't you working for the people? What are you doing for the people? You have done nothing. And guess what? If you're going to do nothing, we don't need you in this position. We don't need any of you in this position. So either work for the American people or resign. That's your choice at this point. Now, we know that the Epstein scandal is deep and wide and implicates many, many, many people. What's very interesting right now, L Brands, which is the parent company of Victoria's Secrets, their CEO, Edward Razik, he resigned from the company. Why? Because of the Epstein controversy. Now, the brand announced its annual Victoria's Secret fashion show was canceled after the last show in December earned the worst ratings in its nearly 20-year broadcast history. The company also sought to distance itself from Jeffrey Epstein, accused child sex trafficker, who was previously connected to CEO Wexner. And you can see they're doing a reshuffling of the company because they know what's coming down the line. And they don't want certain people in certain positions. It's going to look bad for the company. So they're changing and restructuring the company right now. Now, as we know, New York and California, they changed their laws. Why? To go after Trump's tax returns. Remember, there is no federal law that requires Trump to turn in his tax returns when he's looking to become president of the United States or when he is president of the United States. There is no law. He doesn't have to do it. But New York and California, they want to see his tax returns so bad, they went out of their way to create new laws to get to his tax returns. Trump finally responded to what California is doing. He said California is trying to meddle with a ballot in order to oppose President Trump. And it's clearly something California is not allowed to do. It violates the right of the Republican Party or any party to choose its leader under the free speech clause and under the 14th Amendment. John Yoo, Ingram Engel, former Governor Jerry Brown, vetoed the same bill in that it was ridiculous and totally unconstitutional. Just more of the record-setting presidential harassment. Don't feel badly. New York State is far worse. And Trump is letting everyone know that this will be reversed. It's completely unconstitutional. And remember, these laws are not only for Trump, it's for every single candidate. And this is not going to benefit anyone. I know what they were trying to do. We all know what they were trying to do. They think that Trump is hiding something in his tax returns. This is why Nadler was trying to get the tax returns so badly. This is why New York and California enacted these laws. But you know what's happening here. Trump, the patriots, they're setting them all up. Trump's tax returns are squeaky clean. The IRS went through them. There's nothing there. He's just holding them back because guess what? He doesn't have to hand them over. He doesn't have to listen to these deep state operatives. And he's pushing back against them. And once, maybe never, or maybe he will, they finally get them, there'll be nothing there. And he'll just say, see? Now let's take a look at everyone else's. Maybe we need to audit everyone else's tax returns every 2 years to make sure everyone is on the up and up. And I'm not just talking about your personal tax returns. I'm talking about your foundation. I'm talking about anyone that is connected to you. Let's take this to the extreme. And guess what? They're going to push back. No, we don't want that. He's going to say, too bad. This is what you wanted? Here, you got it. Now, we know that the deep state, they purposely wanted to take down 8chan. And this is what they did. And I do believe that the patriots actually wanted this to happen. And people say, why would they want this? Why wouldn't they just change something to make it hardened? Think about it for a second. If the patriots went ahead and said, okay, we're going to harden 8chan, we're going to remove that, remove this, they might have missed something. It's better to have the deep state show their hand. Show what exactly they were going to do. Now they can remove all of it. So the patriots purposely had the deep state do what they do best. Show them exactly what they were going to do. Now Congress, they have summoned Jim Watkins and they want to speak to him about how he's going to control the extremist content on 8chan. Now, we know there's extremist content on Twitter, it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, it's on all these other social media platforms. But did they take those down? No, they didn't. Remember the New Zealand event? Wasn't there a video that was posted? And it was on there for quite a while? Wasn't the manifesto uploaded to Instagram? Shouldn't we be calling in all these social media outfits? No, they're only targeting 8chan. Not 4chan, just 8chan. And Jim Watkins, he responded to the letter that was sent. And he said, Dear sirs, I am on my way back to America as we speak. Today, I'll be at my son's school preparing him for the first day of school. Then in the evening, I'll be on a plane to, this is redacted, I'll be making several transfers on the way. I am always available to talk to you by telephone. Rest assured, I am not an extremist. My telephone should work worldwide. You may call me at, and he gave his phone number, which is not listed here, of course. And he sent this off to Congress, the House Judiciary Committee. And remember, Watkins, he put out a video letting everyone know that the manifesto was uploaded not by the person who committed the crime. It was uploaded by somebody else. And it was uploaded to Instagram first. So now we know the true agenda of these individuals. It was to go after Q. It was to stop Q from posting, from people doing research, from people actually talking truth. That was the main agenda. Now, since the event, there's been this huge push for gun control. And the mainstream media, the Dems, they're pushing this, and it's clogging the news cycle. Cory Booker tweeted out something very interesting. And it says, if you need a license to drive a car, you should need a license to own and operate a gun. I'll get this done as president. Now, Cory Booker, think about what you just said. Driving a car is a privilege. They can take privileges away. Owning a weapon is a right, just like free speech. Just like the right where the government doesn't have the right to go ahead and search your home. We're born with these rights. The government can't take them away. The government can't say, well, here's a license, and if we don't like what you're doing, we're taking the license away. See, that's a privilege. He's confused. The Bill of Rights are rights to the people, and we're born with them. The government cannot take them away. That's the whole purpose. This is why the Founding Fathers designed it this way, because they knew the difference between a right and a privilege. And they knew if they said these are privileges, the government would have the ability to remove them at any time, because the government is giving you that privilege. Now, we know that Trump came out with this gun control plan, and everyone's getting worried and nervous that Trump is going to be taking weapons away. Actually, that's not what's going to happen at all. Actually, right now, Trump said there is no broader push for a federal ban on assault weapons at the moment. And he's not looking to ban weapons. Actually, what he's doing right now is he's telling Congress to come up with something. And people are saying, well, these red flag laws, these aren't good. Well, they're right about that. We don't need the red flag laws. But I think when I'm looking at this, I see his plan. And I already see the Dems and the Republicans arguing about whose policies are better. You better not give us something that doesn't address this, and that. And it looks like at this point, nothing's going to happen. And I think he's betting on this. But we need to understand the red flag laws. Do you know that there are states that already have the red flag laws currently on the books that allow judges to temporarily bar people from accessing guns based on, at least partly, on their social media activity, their mental illness? Do you know that 17 states, which include California, Illinois, Florida, Connecticut, and by the way, Connecticut was the first one to pass it in 1999, that they really don't work? Think about it. Connecticut had it since 1999. Didn't we have a mass shooting that killed 26 people in Sandy Hook? Did this stop the shooter? No. This shows us that red flag laws do not work. Remember, this was passed in 99. The shooting happened in 2012. It didn't work. All of this is noise right now. This stuff does not work. It's been proven over and over and over. And I do believe this plan, and it's all about optics, is to have the House fight for what they want, have the Senate fight for what they want, and they'll never meet in the middle. They haven't met in the middle for anything, really, if you really think about it. Because both have a completely different agenda. It's not to benefit the people. It's to benefit themselves. That's why they can't agree. Now, like we said in the beginning of the report, the deep state is panicking. They're desperate. And through fear and desperation, they expose themselves. Brennan tweeted out the following. Dayton and El Paso tragedies underscore the need to ban semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity ammunition magazines, end hate speech that incites violence, return moral, honest, and competent leaders to the Oval Office. We live in the 21st century America. Let's act like it. What did Brennan just do? When you read his tweet, he just exposed exactly what they wanted. Now, if you're a sheep and you read this, it sounds really great. But if you really understand what they want, this is how it reads. The first one, ban semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity ammunition magazines. Create a crisis. False flag event to remove the Second Amendment. That's what we're really after. The second line, end hate speech that includes violence. Remove the First Amendment. Start with hate speech, then continue censoring because everything will be hateful. And then you can expand upon that and eventually get rid of the First Amendment. Return moral, honest, and competent leadership to the Oval Office. Remove Trump through impeachment or any means necessary. Let's continue the deep state plan. That's what Brennan is actually saying. Now, Trump, when he became president, he was talking about NATO and other countries anteing up, saying, you know something, they're not paying their fair share. And we've noticed since that time, there are certain countries that paid more into NATO now. And we also know that the United States defends and protects other countries. And Trump is out there saying, we would like those countries to start paying because we can't do this for free. And guess what? Countries are starting to pay up. Trump tweeted out, South Korea has agreed to pay substantially more money to the United States in order to defend itself from North Korea. Over the past many decades, the U.S. has been paid very little by South Korea, but last year, at the request of President Trump, South Korea paid $990 million, almost $1 billion. He continued, talks have begun to further increase payments to the United States. South Korea is a very wealthy nation that now feels an obligation to contribute to the military defense provided by the United States of America. The relationship between the two countries is very good. And he's right. If countries want the United States protection in any way, they need to pay up. Now, the question is, who is the United States protecting them from? Well, does South Korea really need the protection of the United States that much longer? If we're having peace with North Korea? Do all the other nations across the globe really need protection? Remember, the deep state, they're the ones who created these endless wars. The deep state created the fear. The deep state did all of this. It's time to reverse all of this. It's time to say, you know something? There's no reason for the United States to protect any of these countries. And this might be Trump's plan, because many of the countries might say, hey, listen, we can't afford this, and guess what? We don't need your protection anymore. This might be coming down the pike. Now, what's very interesting is that Trump, it seems like he's pushing the question. He wants the mainstream media to ask a very important question. Who is Q? Now, Q has told us this, that there will come a point in time where the president will continually push this out into the public domain, and he'll be sitting there waiting for a reporter to come up and say, who is Q? Do you know who Q is? But as we know, the reporters have been instructed not to ask this question. And it's kind of strange that after all of this, bringing down 8chan, calling Q a conspiracy and everything else, they haven't asked the question at all. I mean, Trump had Q appear in a campaign that's running. Now, the video was taken down, but there is a screenshot, and it says Women for Trump, and in the background there's a sign that says Q, keep America great. And no one is asking, hey, why is this in there? Who is Q? Do you know Q? Is Q part of the government? Not one person, not one reporter, I should say, has asked Trump, because they know if they ask that one question, guess what? The mainstream media is destroyed. because all the information would be coming from an individual or group of people that are connected to Trump. It's no longer a conspiracy. And they know this. Now, Trump is sending messages to all the Anons. We know that 8chan is down right now. We know that Q can't post. And it seems like Trump is making sure that everyone understands who is out there that believes in Q, that everything is okay, that we're still in control, and that we should trust Q. Now, Trump tweeted out the following. Thank you, Jim Cramer, CNBC. Trump. Now, there's a picture of Jim Cramer, and this is showing U.S. futures and stocks and things like that. Jim Cramer is saying that the economy was doing well. If you look at the bottom, now remember, these are tickers that are going by. It could have been anything, but it was specifically stopped on this section that was on his post, on his Twitter page. Down below, it says Q, trust Q. Now, of course, it's Invesco, QQQ, trust QQQ. But is that a coincidence? Or is the president saying, trust Q? We're in control. Everything is fine. Now, Sean Hannity, he was out there and he was telling everyone that his sources, which is not Trump, they have told him something very important. This is what he said. My sources are telling me at the end of this investigation, my sources are telling me today and tonight, everything that we have been telling our viewers by, say, no later than the fall, it's all going to be revealed to the American people. I know for some of you, this is taking a long time. I know the wheels of justice sometimes move slowly. The issue of Mueller is gone, done and finished. The issue of the abuses of power and corruption is not only just started, they are deep into discovering things that we have told you on this program. Every one of them will be proven to be true. Every single solitary report. And then he dropped the bombshell. I have my sources confirming to me tonight at very high levels. And by the way, it is not Trump. I have high-level sources telling me that by the time that Attorney Durham is done with the job and Attorney General is done with his job and the investigation is complete, adding into it Inspector General Horowitz, it will shock the conscience of a nation. This is what he said. It will shock the conscience of a nation, which means this is going to be very, very damaging. It's going to expose all these individuals. Do you understand the plan right now? What we're seeing with the events, with what is happening with 8chan, this was all in preparation for what is coming. It was planned a long time ago, and they knew that it would have to go this way. They wanted the deep state to use their ammunition. They wanted 8chan hardened off of the corporate companies. They wanted it to be independent so Q can release information as we go through this. Remember, the mainstream media, they're going to have a very difficult time trying to spin, trying to get ahead of a lot of this stuff. Remember, there's been no leaks. They don't know what to expect. Yes, they've had some information, but the rest of the investigations, if you notice, perfectly quiet. This is how real investigations are done. They're done privately, where no one knows what's going on. The grand jury knows. The investigators know. But the mainstream media has no clue. Now, back in the day, they would have been leaked everything. They would have spun the story. They would have done this and that and the other thing. Now, they're caught in the dark. They have nothing to go on. And it's going to hit them like what? like an avalanche. D5. Think about it. Think about how this is going to hit. And this is why Hannity is out there saying it will shock the conscience of a nation. Now, I hope everyone joins me on the C report. I did another report. This is going to be on BitChute. It's bitchute.com/channel/X22 Report. That's where you can find the C report. Now, sometimes it takes a little while for it to upload, but it will be there. And remember, this is the uncensored report. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.